Hi, happy Tuesday. I've got a little bit of time away from the kids today. And I wasn't gonna do a video and I wasn't gonna look on YouTube, but that's just changed now. So I watched three things that were all correlated and one after the other. And I was just writing as I was listening to them all. And so I don't know if this is going to benefit anyone. This is, or I'm just talking my thoughts out. So click off if you're, not interested or you don't really know what I'm talking about. But the channels that I sort of watch or the information that I consume is a mixed bag of like spiritual, new agey type stuff and psychedelic type stuff, psychology type stuff, and truth seekers, this truther community. And so for a while I've been watching Quantum of Conscience with Matt on, and I can relate to him on many levels, but like I've said a few times before, I haven't gone down these rabbit holes as deep as he has. But I'm feeling like, again, this is like the problem. And it's like throughout my experience of my awakening and things that I'm consuming, I'm understanding different parts of my brain. The same thing that happens, when you're on psychedelics or you're fixing yourself, basically. You're healing yourself. And so certain things, interest certain people, and it's all to do with their own personal journey. So anyway, disclaimer over. So it's about Matt from Quantum of Conscience and Max Egan from the Crow House, and this sort of New Zealand shooting that's happened recently. And I'm just going to talk now, so again, I'm sorry if you don't worry about clicking off or whatever. I'm going to have a drink, just a sec. So you can tell I've had a joint, can't you? I was thinking to myself, wait until your eyes aren't so like stoned to do this chat. Because what, and I was like, no, just say it now, you've got to say it now, so excuse the eyes and the greasy hair. I was intending to have a little joint and maybe a paint and a dance, but I ended up watching something on YouTube and then something else, and I was like, oh, I've got to talk about this, because it's just this same thing with, like, the human psyche, like, in certain communities. And like I've said before, it's no judgment, because I feel it's stages that you go through, and I feel like I've sort of fast forwarded through a few of the traps in this last year, so it's like I'm trying to explain how certain sort of information leaves your psyche in certain densities, and this sort of conspiracy / paranoia type density and belief system that you can so easily get yourself sucked into when you're looking at certain videos on YouTube. And it doesn't even have to be the truther community or anything like that. There's so many different opinions and ideas and theories about things. But like I've said before, the problem is it's like big channels, these channels that have got however many hundreds of thousands of viewers or whatever, or tens of thousands or whatever. It's like, just because they've got that number of viewers, it doesn't mean that they're like a shill or disinfo or whatever. It's like everybody's at their own evolution of their own mental capacity to connect with consciousness or whatever, to understand these big ideas and what they actually are doing for humanity, how the general mass consciousness is moving, and how important it is that we move in the right direction. And so it's like Matt has just spent just as long on his video, and I'm probably going to do it now, so here probably comes a bit of hypocrisy, but it's like this whole calling out of people, like, and I guess I'm kind of calling him out now, but I don't mean it, I'm not going to put it in the title or try and, I hope he doesn't actually listen to this. This is just my sort of feels on this. Oh God, I feel bad now. he's just spent a long video calling out somebody for being, you know, disinfo or a shill or not to be trusted. This Max Egan guy from the Crow House. And you know, many people seem to be resonating with him. What happened was this Max Egan had put out his opinion on this New Zealand shooting. And apparently, you know, there's so many people think it's fake. And so his video was how, in his opinion, it wasn't fake, and these are the reasons why. So anyway, I saw, you know, a 5-minute video on this that he did yesterday. It popped up, and usually I'm not that fussed about him, to be honest. They're just long, drony videos. So I'm sure he's said a lot of brilliant things before. Because up until yesterday, he was in, you know, the high regards of Matt from Quantum of Conscience, and it's like, fucking hell, what are these games that everybody's playing? Like, who gives a shit? Like, everybody is at their own level of consciousness, and channels like this is a channel. I'm on a channel, you know, like, why does anybody have power or authority or whatever over the current narrative or their current theory or opinion on something? It's like, it's fucking ridiculous, isn't it? It's like games being played. I don't see why people have to be this, that or the other, disinfo or shills. Why can't they just be normal people with their normal individual opinion? And sometimes you're going to like it and sometimes you're not, and sometimes it's going to really, you know, go against your belief, which is when cognitive dissonance happens on both ends. And it's a fucking ridiculous game. Like, so I thought this Matt from Quantum of Conscience was sort of like not one of these people that would do something like this, but he's like urging all his viewers, and he's got loads more viewers recently, you know, so by his own sort of judgment, maybe he's a shill, you know. He's like, at the end of the video, he's like, there's just one person, one channel I trust, this Sandy fucking Sandstorm or something, whatever this name was. And I'm like, God, like, who the fuck are you? Like, to this is your opinion. You don't trust anyone. Like, that's your issue. It's like, this is something that I've had to work through and let go of, is the judgment and the way that intermingles with judgment and trust. And like, I've always been skeptical my whole life of everything and everyone, but it's not always healthy. And this is where, like, I feel like sometimes I want to step in as like mental health advisor. Look at me with fucking stoned eyes and rambles, but you know, like, and you know, as like the referee of the mass consciousness, and go, you know, blow my whistle and be like, excuse me, Matt, you know, you're sort of perpetuating this giving power to the invisible of your own doing. Like, you know, to expect everybody to have the same opinion on you as everything, and to expect that the only way that that we can sort of evolve, he kind of sort of insinuated at the end, is that if we see the falsity of reality and then move through it. And I'm like, yes, as a statement, that is it. But it's not by judging the external. It's a metaphorical thing where you see everything as an illusion, and you know, you can pick up on certain scripts happening from a system, but don't give the invisible system the power either. You know, these, like, he calls them George Bush creatures and this, that and the other. And, you know, I laugh and I can understand his perspective on things, but at the same time, what's that doing? You know, people are waiting for Trump to save the world, or for, you know, you get these angry truth communities, you know, all getting fucking sick to death of everything. What are we going to do to bring down the system? And it's like, we are the system. Like, we're controlled, yeah, by the people in charge, the people with money, but they're like, and you know, they probably don't have souls, you know, they're probably just very sensory, minimal people with less empathy, and nothing more sinister than that, you know. And I'm guessing it's probably a bit more sinister than that. You know, my imagination does stretch completely to the other end. I do try and have an open mind. It's just, giving the power, it's giving the power away all the time, like tarring everybody with the same brush. It's like, so anyway, after I'd watched this, and to be honest, I've not seen this New Zealand shooting, and I won't do now because you can go to prison for sharing it, let alone watching it. And I really wish I had, because I would have loved to have my own silent opinion on it. I don't know if I would have even spoken about it. But, you know, the idea that every single thing is fake is, whether it be potentially true or not, it's not a good vibe to be in. It's not a good perception of reality. And I noticed on the comments, somebody had written about, you know, you got to remember the boy who cried wolf, that, you know, at least one time it was true. It doesn't always have to all be fake, you know, fake everything. It's the metaphorical idea that, you know, the political system is a joke and it's fake. That to me is an understanding of the ridiculousness of a situation that we got ourselves into, and how, yeah, we are controlled by a certain few with financial systems and power structures and things like that. But, you know, like Matt in this video again, he was calling out somebody who this Max Egan was going to do a talk alongside, and there's just, you know, just stretching for these things to just, you know, disregard people because they're not willing to take the same view as him and say that everything's fake and politics is all a joke and it's all a stage. And it's like, yeah, it is, but do we give the power to the individual puppets of that system, the potential NPCs, or, you know, just sort of robotic, empathy-less people that are everywhere, you know, that would more likely go into politics in the way that politics has been in the last however many years, you know. But the system, you know, it will collapse from the inside because of us people, but only when we stop giving the power to the system, the power to, you know, the power to AI. There's all this fear pushing with, you know, what AI, the dangers of AI and what it's going to bring, you know, to the future and that. And I've spoken about this a few times as well. And I have listened to people on Joe Rogan talk about this, but they never go into any specifics or details. It's all just sort of, you know, these quantum computers, they can think anything up. And it's like, you know, come on, like us humans are programming these computers, we're inventing them, and what, you know, just don't give the power to that mindset. We've got to imagine that the good-souled people will rise and we'll all be reborn and rebooted. We'll have these better bodily fucking empathy connections, and, you know, we'll understand things in a less judgmental way. So eventually the system will collapse from the inside and it will be taken over by good-souled people, you know. But it's like it's a transition. Again, you know, I'm not denying the ugly truth in a lot of what people on Truther channels speak about. But when I listened to Matt, then I was like, oh, come on, you know, if I was the referee, I'd be blowing my whistle quite a few times through his and just showing him his own sort of hypocrisy on a few things. You know, and I just think when you've got, I feel like I'll always say what I want and I don't care, but he's got a lot of people who are clinging on to his every word, and it's a sort of responsible position, I think, and you've just got to take yourself out of it and think about what you're telling everybody and how that perception of yours, which may be your truth, may be the truth, who knows, nobody knows, but you're sort of then ingesting that distrust of everything onto everyone that's listening to you and advising them to no longer listen to this guy, this Max Egan. And I'm like, fucking hell, that's not fair, you know, how people just judge these other people, and such is chill, such is disinfo. It's like, these are just fucking people, you know, can't we see that? And individual people with individual good and badness will have their own personal agenda for doing and saying whatever they say, and it doesn't always have to be connected to the system, the controllers, or someone's been paid off by this, that and the other. And it's like, dude, you know, if I was in that mindset, I would not be a happy camper living on Earth. Like, what the fuck? So I'm just sort of like, I'm feeling like it's a shame, and I guess I sound ranty and angry, and I'm being a hypocrite by, you know, talking about Matt in this judgmental way, but I kind of, and I don't mean to, he obviously knows a lot, he's been doing this truth of shit for 10 years, and he's, you know, but I'm trying to take the external findings and apply it to benefit the internal, the mental, you know, the mindset, the psyche of the human. And how are we humans going to feel if, you know, we are distrusting of everyone and everything? It's like that just shows you that you're distrusting of yourself. You know, you don't trust yourself fully yet. That's why you're blaming everything else and everyone else and everything else, even if it's invisible. You know, we never get who the controllers are, who are the big ones behind the curtain, who's the fucking Wizard of Oz, because we individually create it, we give it the power, we create it. And, you know, the next thing I watched after Matt's video, and I'd written down so much, but, you know, I don't want it, but another thing, it was he was bashing TED, you know, TED Talks as a whole, and I've got to admit that my scepticism of certain TED things has gone down over my year, but that could potentially be because of listening to, you know, different, you know, more fear-based conspiratorial type of things. Because prior to that, when I was like into fixing myself with psychedelics, and before YouTube and before me, you know, looking on YouTube or anything, the only thing I ever looked for on YouTube were TED Talks, and I learned loads from TED Talks and Joe Rogan Talks as well. And it's like, again, I'm like, I don't take everything anyone says as 100% fact, because I understand the subjectivity of it. But, you know, I not particularly from Joe Rogan, but from his guests, I've learned a lot. And we can't, you know, I had this whole sort of, I was trying to figure him out when we did that Alex Jones Returns one, and, you know, and I'm just thinking, you know, how certain things are very shady, but also you've got to remember that everyone's at their own level of consciousness and their own personal plan, and we've just got to leave people to it. Like, you know, like I said the other day, Logan Paul and his Flat Earth mockumentary, leave him to it, you know, leave these people to it. Don't give them the power of, you know, this invisible system of shilling, everyone's a shill and everyone's this, that and the other. And maybe, you know, people in that mindset will have the last laugh, and maybe I'll be, you know, shilled, or maybe I'll be a shill in someone's eye or whatever. But it's just like, for me, it's just like, dude, you know, inside, step away from the duality. Don't give this sort of thing the power. It's like, what's happening is that AI is now the system, you know, in so many ways. Like, how everything's sort of AI emerging that way, isn't it? You know, you can't even go into, my dad always says this because he used to have a post office and I used to work in it as well, but you can't even go into a post office really anymore and stamp your book and get your cash. It's like everything's digital and online, and, you know, the invisibleness of everything, the illusionary nature of certain things. Things are changing with AI, but you know, don't give that the power. The AI, the system, the computer that you're within, you know, you can play by your own rules. It's like the AI is the rules, the system is the rules, but you don't always have to play within the rules, you know. There's certain things that you have to do to not compromise your soul, you know. I think everyone wants to be a good person and do the right thing, but there's certain free ways of being where you don't have to give fear structures control over, you know, your being. Like, there are some attempts of the system, you know, to help us. There are some certain helps. Like me, I don't work at the minute. I'm looking after my kids until you know, I don't have to anymore. I don't mean don't have to anymore. Obviously, I'm going to do forever. But when my littlest one goes to school is when, you know, I'm going to try and work for myself while they're at school, and then continue to spend my time with them, you know. I've got ideas about homeschooling one day, but, you know, I don't, again, want to be sort of super duper, paranoid and not willing to sort of integrate into what will be changed and what is here now. We the people, we change the systems from the inside. They collapse because of us when we change our mindsets and we start looking after our kids and not perpetuating childhood trauma, and understanding mental health so we can heal ourselves from traumas which will inevitably happen, like suffering is about. But once we heal ourselves, we change the system from the inside. It's not going to be a Donald Trump or a spaceship of whatever. We do this to ourselves, and we have to do it to ourselves. But anyway, I was just a bit disappointed in his message to his tens of thousands of listeners. Like, I was like, you're not there yet. Like, you're still on your stages of the journey. But anyway, so I think I was rambling about TED and because he was calling TED out because they had Bill Gates on or whatever, and it's like, I've seen, and they do ban TED Talks, which are still available, but they're not official backed ones or whatever. So you get good stuff on those, but you get good stuff on the mainstream as well. It's like, don't give the power to these things. It's like even Joe Rogan, like I've seen Joe Rogan episodes where I've known who was coming on, and it's clear that he ain't got a fucking clue who it is. He's just got a schedule. He's, God knows, he's doing his thing, and quite often he's not even there. He's pretty stoned, isn't he? And like, so don't give him the credit. It's like, I think it's fishy that he won't have Eric DeBay on when it was scheduled for February last year, and that's just all of a sudden gone quiet about. And certain things that he sort of ridicules or mocks, I'm sceptical about because I have opposing views on. But at the same time, I'm not judging him. I'm going, well, that's where his mindset's at. That's his barrier. His barriers are up. His level of cognitive dissonance. How far he's willing to go. And it's like, I'm just sort of like aware that some people's minds open so much that they can't grab it back to any sense of, reality in a way that is going to be good for you. It's like, everything is illusionary, and I've said it a million times, and the world is a stage, and who knows the mysteries and the intricacies of it. It's great that like these things are sort of coming on the table for us all to see, but it's like the last desperate clingings of like blame and duel and this warrior mindset that we've got to get out of. And I hope I'm not being offensive here, because I see so many open-minded, empathic, spiritual type men online who seem to have, great integrity. And so, this is not to disregard men. Men are brilliant. I definitely think I was a man in my last life. I'm not particularly girly. But at the same time, I feel like it's men that are like struggling with this sort of warrior mindset of blame duality, pushing the conspiracies and the fear porn and the things like that. It's like, I'm going to have to round this up now because it's been 25 minutes. Like Matt and other people like that, and a lot of Christians as well, are so paranoid and everything's the devil and the dark, this, that and the other, and it's like, fuck's sake, I just have to wonder, because I do think there's certain truths in things which I can't deny, but again, I've not looked into them enough to have an opinion of it, and I'm keeping myself that way, so I'm just saying my shit here, and again, I don't want to offend anybody, I'm sorry, I'm ranting. It's just this giving the power away. It's like Matt and people like that, they say like, truth has to be revealed, they have to show you the truth within the lies, and it's like, they who, Hollywood or political systems, the New World Order, the Illuminati, what? It's like, truth is always revealed, like, not by the system. The system is robots. The system are soulless. Like, the truth is revealed from the inside by the people. So let's not give them the credit. They're telling us a bit of this and then some lies. It's like every single individual is at their own sort of capacity of understanding. Like, we're just giving, we're creating these crazy nemesises for ourselves, which we're inventing in our own psyche, muddled with bits of truth, but you know, and oh, it's just, yeah, I've just, you know, there's a lot I wanted to say, but so like how he was sort of saying how Ted is like the mouthpiece of the system, and like I said before, there's a stage where I kind of was distrustful of everything like that. You know, it's a mouthpiece of the system, but then when I actually think about, you know, what it would take for the organisers of TED and all the employees and all that, it's like who speaks on TED is, you know, probably chosen by some, but there'll be some people that get in there and they can say their complete truth, and that's not because Ted's allowing them to come in. They personally just speak their truth, so you get, you know, a few good speakers out of it, you know, like Rupert Sheldrake and Graham Hancock and many others. You know, it's like everyone's a fucking shill now, are they, for going on TED? It's like, I don't know, you know, sometimes I feel like people lose credibility when they appear to go mainstream, but if their message is the same, you know, it's like that's how to change it, isn't it, from the inside? You can't just all stay together in these dark truther communities, you know, like it's like we've got to actually make change in real life. That's why, you know, it looks like very slowly some decent people are starting to become interested in politics, you know, like Marianne Williamson in America and fuck knows in England, to be honest, you know, it's like, and again, I hope this doesn't offend everybody, but everyone's like, oh, Tommy Robinson's amazing and he's this, that and the other, and I'm just like, really, you know? I understand what he's trying to do, but like, let's not pedestal these people that could have not quite understood the whole story of everything, you know, as much good as they appear to be trying to do, you know. Anywho, fuck's sake. System is AI rules. People create us, we create the scenario. We play the game within the system of AI, so we have to change it, you know. People are trying to bring down the system, giving power to the system, the invisible system, or the system of potential invisibility, you know, this sort of metaphorical, illusionary nature of things to do with politics and reality and life, and looking at life as a hologram and how you're creating everything through your own brain is completely something that I can resonate with, but I slot it into my own sort of feels of everything. And I don't take that to the extreme. I feel like it's more a mind, brain, consciousness thing. Heart, mind, soul, brain, everything connecting to consciousness and understandings and levels of perception. So it's like, you know, a physical thing as well as a metaphorical thing. I literally have no ideology, I don't think, you know, I'm not going to be, if I ever will, I just don't have a sort of fully formed opinion on anything. But I think where you've got to be really careful when you're having a spiritual awakening or when you're in the truther community is when you get to that bridge of everything is illusionary, everything is fake, everything is a falsity. It's like, yes, but that needs to be taken inside and sorted out, you know, in a metaphysical, you need to understand that internally, otherwise, you know, things aren't going to be great. And so that's why I don't like simulation theory being pushed by mainstream, you know, and people like Elon Musk or I don't know, probably fucking Zuckerberg or whatever, you know. And I don't, again, it's like, let's not give these people the narrative, the power of the narrative. Like, who knows? Who bloody knows? Well, from what I've heard, I don't fear AI because I've never been told why I should fear AI, apart from stealing of identity and shit like that. You know, it's not like, I'm scared that robots are going to take over the world and machine gun us all down, or you know, I don't even know what these fears are. I can understand how financial systems and things can collapse, and we could be in a sticky situation if something went wrong with AI systems, but I don't understand why we are creating potential dangerous AI, if that is even such a thing, you know? Can that even happen, that all of a sudden it starts to, you know, do its own thing and create evil things? It's like it's going to copy what's been put into it. So if bad people with bad ideas are putting their creations, their imagination into their inventions of technology, there's potential for danger. But if we're good people using technology for the right way, the system will change, and the danger to AI is not there. It's like it should never be there. Humans are, you know, in control of technology. We fucking should be, you know? So it's like it just seems to be, I don't know. I'm just sick of division and fear porn, and I'm sick of conspiracies. I'm sick of how things can get so ridiculous. You know, it's like, what did I write down here? It's like, on one hand, I see how it's completely ridiculous to believe. It is ridiculous. It's the most stupid thing that we do as humans, is to believe everything you're told. From, you know, everything you read at school, everything you're told at school, everything on mainstream news. That all needs to change, you know, the belief in that. But on the other end of the spectrum, when you believe that everything is fake and false, or evil or illusionary, or whatever, you know, not illusionary necessarily, but evil, fake, you know, the believe in every conspiracy, it's like that's the danger to the human psyche, isn't it? Because that's pulling you further and further away from the chance to intermingle, like, higher perceptions, and, you know, with what we've got here. It's like it stops the human evolution in a even way, doesn't it? Do you know what I mean? I don't know if anyone knows what I mean. But, and he was like, politicians, you know, they're experts at saying nothing. And sometimes, I mean, yeah, they are, but it's like, it's probably because they know nothing. You know, they're just individual puppets, not literal puppets. They're people with, like, their own life and their own shit going on, but they're not in the same, you know, they're with less empathy, and they're of a different setup in the brain. You know, these are the, you know, it's when you see loads of different people, you can sort of silently and internally sort of categorize people, can't you, in certain this is what I've done my whole life, which I've got to stop doing, you know, sort of like judging. But you know what I mean? It's like, when you listen to any of these politicians, none of them seem like they're full of empathy or honour. Why would any of them sort of risk their own selfish, unaware life to start a revolution? You know, they're just puppets in the system. They're just playing their role, same as most other people who go to their normal jobs and don't say boo to a goose. You know, it's like, what do we expect from them? Fucking hell. Don't hold your hope in politics. Let's try and, you know, change it from home, from within, and that will, you know, gradually change the system. We'll create kids with no trauma that are, you know, absolutely super talented and can take the imagination and the lessons of the ether and the Akashic records and all knowledge that ever was, and they can use their modern day skills, and technology can advance in harmonious healing ways and beneficial eco-friendly ways. And, you know, this is what will happen if we make ourselves good, and then we make our kids as trauma-free as we can, and, you know, let them live their lives. And oh, fucking hell. But anyway, so just a little rant about that, because it's 35 minutes. The video that came up after I watched Mart's was this woman called Rachel Reenstra, I think. and I think she's a comedian in America. I don't know her from celebrity or film or TV or anything, so I don't know. What I do know is that I've been watching her for a few weeks. She's having her own awakening, and she's funny and creative and brilliant. And she interviewed, we didn't interview him really, just met up and had a chat with this Max Egan, who Matt's calling out, you know, after like however many years of good work this guy's done, because he's actually saying his opinion on an event, you know. So, you know, he's doing exactly the same thing. Anyway, this video, I'm going to post it down below with this Rachel girl. He's smoking a joint, he's singing. The words he says are true, and during this one video that I've watched, and he seems to get it in terms of everything being electromagnetic, and you know, his words were way better than mine ever were. Of course, that's why he's got a big channel, but you know, it's like then some other big channel comes and fucking points their judgy finger at it, and all of a sudden someone's oh god, it's like fucking hell. And again, I've not seen this video, and I probably would be like, looks fake to me. But I don't want to say that, you know, because I've not seen it. But things are fishy. Who knows what's going on? But let's not give it the power, you know. Let's ignore it. I'm giving it power by even fucking talking about this. And I've taken some of my energy by doing this. But it's like, sometimes I'm shocked that these truther, because it doesn't really happen in the spiritual community. We may be talking about starseeds and Pleiadians and ideas of other things, but this sort of paranoid judgy shit doesn't go on. Not really, you know. It's disappearing quickly. So, you know, New Age is way more ahead in terms of understanding how healing the human psyche changes the world. You know, it's like truther communities. I don't know. I've spoken about angry truthers before. You know, just seems like a very warrior male type mentality, which is not going to help. It's like helicopter. It's all about healing, and this is why I just love listening to women talk. I'm like, yay, come on girls, because like we get it. And again, not to be disrespectful, so many men get it, so much more than I get it as well. So many wiser men than I. But when you listen to women, they seem to bring it back inside and sort of try and expel the positive and the, you know, the lesson in it, or the how to transmute or change something. It's improvising. That's what women are good at. It's like, you know, taking something and turning it better, creating, making it flow. And so it's great that more women are talking about things now, because they're all traps. These are all fucking dirty, stupid traps. All these philosophies and ideas that go too far anyway. Like, my mind's so open to everything. I personally think that what I believe I know that what I believe, or what I sort of have an inkling about, so many people think's bollocks, you know. The idea that space isn't what we've been told, and planets aren't what we've been told, and, you know, maybe the shape of the earth is not what we've been told. Maybe so many things are not what we've been told. People think I'm crazy, they do. But online, you know, it's like, once you go so far, it's like all of a sudden everyone has to be on the same page, and it doesn't matter how extreme that page is, you know. If you're not on that page, you're a fucking shill, and it's like, it's ridiculous. Anyway, so I haven't got a leg in the race again. Like, I've listened to this Max Egan a few times, and he seemed nice to me, and when I watched this thing, even though it's just 20 minutes with this girl, I felt like, oh, he's a nice guy, and he's doing his best at his own level of consciousness, which is way more than mine, by the way. You know, I'm not being condescending. And you know, get over it. It's someone's opinion on a channel. It's a person. Get over it. Like, have your own opinion and, you know, be all right with that. So that's my fucking opinion anyway, and I'm sure it's laced with hypocrisy and stoned blurblings, but anyway, at least I've done it. 39 I saw then. I'm going. And I had to put angel music on to calm myself down, because when I tried to speak and I'd been singing and they had music on, it was all going wrong. Anyway, happy Tuesday.